What's up, everyone? This is Bacon here, and today we have another AFK Companions video. Today we're going to be looking at something that I made a video on a few months ago, but I think as the game has progressed, as times changed, my opinions on some things have kind of altered or tweaked a little bit. But we're going to talk about the best way to spend your diamonds in AFK Companions. And so the first thing that I want to mention is if this depends where you are in the game as far as progression. And this is also my opinion. So you might disagree with it, or you might think it, depending on your situation, it varies a little bit. But the big thing that I think when you start the game, you should be using your diamonds on the fast rewards. You get to use your 100 diamonds for 2 hours of fast rewards, and then you can use 200 for another 2 hours. So basically, for 300 diamonds, you get 4 extra hours every single day of passive rewards. Now, this is important because as you start the game, you're going to be really low on the resource. Let's go ahead and pull it up. And your purple essence. So this is, you can see your production. And your production is based on your campaign progression and your Forked Fate progression. You can see here, Forked Fate gives you more purple essence, and campaign kind of gives you more of everything else. Which this is one reason why you really want to progress in Forked Fate as far as you can, because as you progress in the game, purple essence is pretty hard to get up to a certain point, and so you want to get this, as much as possible. But also in the campaign, you get blue essence and purple, and it's just good to get that those rewards. So an extra 4 hours a day is pretty significant, especially when you kind of add it up over time. And just kind of, it's not something you're going to notice significantly every day, but if you kind of put it all together over a month or a few months, it does make it worth it. Now, this is especially true when you are before level 360. So you can see I am past 360, and I'm using the resonation crystal to level up my characters now. You can see down here, this is where I strengthen, and I basically use gold and the hero XP, and then every so often I have to use some purple essence. So right now, purple essence, once you get to 360, most people, purple essence is just not really needed. I mean, look how much crap I have. I have 272k. I have a ton of this. Also, gold is also very useless in AFK Companions. I mean, I have so much gold. I'm constantly having to use these because my inventory is maxing out. And so I'm saying all this to basically, until you get to 360, I would suggest using your fast rewards, your diamonds on fast rewards every single day. That'll help you progress farther. That'll help you level up your characters, just overall help you go farther. I think once you get to 360, you're really only doing it for, if you're in the same boat as me, you're really only doing it for the blue essence. Now, on the contrary, you can also get, once you get to a certain point in campaign, you can get random armor pieces and stuff like that. And so that is a reason maybe you want to try to use your fast rewards every day once you get to 360. And maybe the good medium is just using the 100 diamonds one for the 2 hours and not using the 200 diamond one for the extra 2 hours. I think that's a good middle ground once you hit level 360. But I would say that's the big thing you want to use your diamonds on when you first start the game. Now let's go ahead and look at the shop. So here's the shop. Here's the things you can buy diamonds. First thing to note, just equipment, don't ever buy this with your diamonds. Doesn't matter where you are in the game, early, late, doesn't matter. Do not buy any legendary weapons. Legendary weapons are just useless. They're basically, they might be nice in the first few weeks or a month of the game, but then eventually the only thing you're really gonna want is the mythic items. So don't buy these. They're gonna just become feed eventually, so not worth it. It's also a really high amount of diamonds that they're charging, and it's just really not worth it. So besides that, you have these 5 items. These are discounted, so you can get 10 of these for 2,100 diamonds. Now, if we go ahead and look at a Noble Tavern, to do 10 pulls is 2,700. So if you're using your diamonds currently for pulls, which I think when you first start the game, that makes sense. That's probably where a lot of your pulls are going to go. You definitely want to buy these because it's just a better deal. I think as you progress in the game, and you're not pulling as much, this is still a solid deal. But I think depending on where you're at, if you're saving for certain things, you might want to try to figure out whether or not you want to buy these. I personally, I don't have them now because I'm just using everything I have for the Destiny summons. But once that's over and I start kind of replenishing my diamonds, I will start buying these again. Might even get them before the refresh happens, but I would say this is a good deal. These three or four, honestly, the emblems and then the bait. The bait for sure, I would not buy that. Don't buy the bait. Not worth it. The emblems are tricky because they are a pretty hard resource to get in the game, but I think you should be getting your emblems from the arena store. I think that's where you get the best value for it. And so I think most people, unless you're a spender, if you're free to play, I would just avoid this. I would save your diamonds. I think it's better to save them. It's fine if you need like a quick 10 to buy like 10 of these or whatever. But overall, I would say if you're free to play, and this is what this video is mostly geared towards, I would not buy these. Now, if you're paying for like the monthly pass so you get more diamonds, it might be worth to buy some of these, especially the emblem choice chests. If you're going to buy any of these, I would say the emblem choice chest is your best bet just because it's the hardest one to get. It's more expensive, obviously, but getting 10 of those is really nice and adds up over time, especially if you're buying them here in the arena. Now, besides that, free to play, I would say the scroll is the only thing you want to go for. Avoid these. If you're spending, even if it's a little bit, it might be worth getting these. But that's kind of how I feel about diamonds in the store. Now, let's go ahead and look at the summons. So with summons, when you first start the game, you're going to basically want to summon as many characters as possible. You're going to be getting a lot of scrolls. You're going to be getting a lot of diamonds. You're going to be getting a lot of all resources for a little while. And it's okay to use your diamonds for summons here. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think as you progress in the game, summons aren't as important just because Companions does give you a good amount of summons just from doing stuff every day. You get the 10 when you log in every day. You get a few from your dailies and stuff like that. And so I think, I don't know what point I would say is the cutoff, but you'll kind of feel where the things that you can buy with diamonds are becoming a little more valuable than summons. I'll say that much. So I would say if you're new to the game, use your diamonds here. You need more characters. You need to get a lot of characters. Maybe the good point is once you can summon enough to get Awakened Solace, that might be a good point to... I don't even know where she is. Does she just not appear here? Would make sense, I suppose. Once you can get Awakened Solace, it might be a good point to kind of ease back on the amount of summons. I think that's kind of a good marker because I think every faction has about 5-6-ish characters right now that are really good, really solid. And once you get past those 6-5, the characters kind of dip off and you just kind of collect stuff naturally, and it's not really worth trying to push for that. And so I would say pull diamonds so you get Awakened Solace until you have about 5 or 6 ascended heroes in every faction and feel like you have a good teams going for your towers, and then maybe just kind of use summons from scrolls that you get normally. Now, Destiny summons, as we've seen with all the events that have been going on, currently, they're really high value, and you can summon diamonds with Destiny summons. This is a really important part of the game where you will need diamonds for it. And so I would say saving your diamonds and stockpiling them as much as you can until the next dimensional event or the next spirit summoning event comes up is probably your best bet. They'll have different ones like this. These are not worth spending your diamonds for. None of these characters are really going to do anything for you. Basically, unless you're summoning for a dimensional, or for some reason down the road Lilith is nice and lets us summon for a Hypogene or a Celestial, I would say just save your diamonds for the dimensional spirits. Now, I'm not gonna rant. We should be able to use diamonds on here, but we can't. So I don't even have to talk about diamonds here. but I wish we could use diamonds here because that would be really nice. It makes me sad every time I see that. But anyway, back to everything else. There's really not a whole lot else you can spend diamonds on in AFK Companions, to be honest. I mean, just looking, you got the store ones already mentioned. There's a few random things like Rickety Cart where you can use diamonds for resetting heroes and whatnot, but I would say a lot of people will start. I've seen a lot of people with Arena who are like, you can tell they're using diamonds to refresh their attacks because it'll be like the day one and my partner's already like top 500. And that just isn't possible unless you're using more than 5 attacks in the first day. And so I think I would say it's probably not worth it because I'm getting top 100, top 80 sometimes without using any refreshes. And so I would say don't use your diamonds for resetting Arena unless you really need it at the very end. I could see that being a good use of them to try to get in a top like 100 or so. But if the beginning in the middle of the week, don't use your diamonds for reset attacks on Arena, just not worth it. And then I think that's really it. There's not a whole lot else. I mean, you got your bounties, quests. I mean, none of that requires diamonds, nothing with guild. That's really it. So that's what I personally think is the best use of your diamonds. Like I mentioned throughout the video, it kind of depends what your progression in your account is. It might look a little different from day 1 to day 200, but overall, I think that is my personal thoughts on how to use your diamonds. Now that I'm late game, I've definitely kind of changed how I've been using my diamonds, but not necessarily changed because I was wrong in the past on it, but more so I just think as you progress in the count, there are certain things that aren't as important to you and other things that are more important. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys that are unsure about how to use your diamonds. Maybe someday we'll be able to use our diamonds here. And it's really hurting me now because of the Lucretia being announced. She was like one of my favorite characters in the game in Classic. And so can't summon for her, unfortunately, but maybe that'll change. We'll see. But as always, hope you guys have a great rest of your day and thanks for watching. Peace.